Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of my Cedar Point Recreation Park. In the last episode we built a couple of flat rides on Gemini Midway, and today we're going to stick near the same area and crank out all of the little kitty rides in Camp Snoopy. I'm not going to go too much into detail about everything that goes into this part of the park. All of these rides are pretty much the same thing that we did over in Planet Snoopy and Kitty Kingdom. Different variations on little rides that spin you in a circle. Plus one more kitty drop tower that's the same thing as the one that's over in Planet Snoopy. So nothing too exciting or interesting going on here, to be perfectly honest. But it is nice to get all of these rides finally built, and it's also nice that I managed to fit them all into this area. I was a little concerned about space constraints, especially with Wilderness Run and Woodstock Express taking up so much space. So there's not going to be a whole lot of room for decoration in this part of the park once we get to there, but although I will say that even without a lot of decoration besides some of the basic fences that I've added in here, I do like the way it looks already. Maybe that's just bias from looking at red grids for so long, and just seeing any scenery at all is pretty exciting. But I'll take it. It's relatively interesting, I suppose. I'd also like to give a quick shout out to the website cpinsiders.net. They have a ton of photos and historical information, which has been really helpful in getting a lot of these little rides done, especially since a lot of them don't have a lot of good representation on Google Street View, because those photos are very out of date. So I've been able to use those photos to help make my recreations a little bit more modern, a little bit more accurate, which has been really nice. Plus, I've learned a little bit of interesting history about some of these rides that I wouldn't have ever known otherwise. Just as a little example, that kitty drop tower we did at the beginning used to be out in the Gemini Midway, where it was called Frog Hopper, and I do remember it being out there, walking past it many times when I was younger, and it's just interesting to see, oh, now they moved it over to Camp Snoopy and given it new theming and everything, but it's the same ride. But you wouldn't know about that otherwise, because I normally don't give these kinds of rides a second thought. Just some interesting little side information. So yeah, that website is going to be very helpful in the near future when we start making more of our ride stations. Glad to have it around helping me out. After finishing up Camp Snoopy, we moved our way over to Frontier Town for our final two rides of today, which is the Wave Swinger, another swing ride, which is notable in that it is our final shoestrung ride of the park. After this, we will not be making any more hacked shoestrung rides, and I'm so happy. I think at this point we've made 30 of them total, and that is far too many, but it's all over now. This is our last one. Pretty simple swing ride. Thought about putting some decorations in here. Got a little bit ahead of myself. We're going to come back to this later to add some actual decoration. There is a great wave swinger in Storybook Land that I'll probably be copying a lot of decorations from as soon as I can figure out how to get that broken down Enterprise decoration to work. But that is for another day. Last but not least, one more little flat ride in here, and that is Skyhawk, the Screamin swing. This is a fun little one to do. It doesn't take a lot of effort if you've got the Ride Vehicle Editor plugin. Basically just a twister coaster in powered launch mode, and you move the second vehicle over to another track with some track merging. And I think this looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the way this one turned out. Added some supports in as well to keep things looking cool. I haven't spent a lot of time in this part of the park yet because there aren't very many other rides back here. But this is going to start looking nice once we get some real decorations in here. But since this is our final build of the day, I am pleased to announce that we are at the end of Phase 3. Now that we've built all of our flat rides, I think the only ride that is left to actually build is Thunder Canyon, if you don't count the water rides and everything in Cedar Point Shores. And I think all of those rides will just save for later. But aside from that, every ride in the park is done and open. And as soon as the paths get built out towards those rides, peeps can ride every single one. We're probably going to make some more tweaks as we go along, as we continue to build in scenery and station buildings and infrastructure and everything. Things are probably going to shift around a little bit. For example, Snake River Falls here probably is not in the best spot. We might move that a little bit, but won't be super hard to do. But I'm glad to have reached this milestone. Feel like I've accomplished a lot. Feeling pretty good about the state of the park right now. Next up for Phase 4, we've got some station buildings to do, as I mentioned. So we're going to be going back through every single ride in the park and fleshing out the stations, scenery, queues, making sure everything looks good there. We've already done a little bit of that with some of these flat rides, but all of the coasters except Wicked Twister are going to need some attention. So look forward to that coming up, and in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed watching me build. As always, if you've got comments, questions, suggestions, please let me know. Thanks for watching.